Good day, and thank you for joining us on another emX Select training video. Today, we will be talking through the client website as experienced by your clients. We will address both a navigational overview and best practices to follow for optimizing success on the platform. Without further delay, let's go. We will begin at the landing page after logging in. Here on the home page, we will navigate to the Clients tab at the top of the page. Once on the Clients page, we will search for a client whose website is already set up. Once we get to the Client's overview, we will click on the Client Website globe in the top right of your screen. Once selected, click the option stating View Client Website. Now we are impersonating a client site. Keep in mind that the system is still aware that you are logged in as an advisor and not as the client themselves. You can see this by reading the top left of the page that states Advisor is viewing the website of client. Just like the advisor homepage, your client's homepage is a synopsis of all relevant information stored in the site. Each tile summarizes a different realm of your client's portal. The uppermost left tile will house your information and logo. The rest of the tiles will become increasingly more detailed as the site is populated with the client's specifics. Let's take a moment to discuss some onboarding best practices. The bottom rightmost tile houses some great preliminary information. The first of the 3 rotating content slides will show the site's very own tour guide, Danny. By selecting the Get Started link, a short 2-minute video will appear. This video is a client-facing overview of the new and exciting portal you have graciously provided your clients. The next content slide is accessed by selecting the arrows on the bottom corners of the tile. Here, you will see a link to get your client set up with mobile access to our site. This is highly recommended because you can imagine how much more often your clients will use this site if they can access it right from their mobile device. The last content slide is used to link your client's portal with the awards manager provided by using Miles. This allows your client to track their frequent flyer miles and hotel reward points right from the comfort of their personal site. We will now take a tour of the site by moving across the tiles on the top from left to right. Keep in mind that since we are impersonating your client's site as the advisor, there will be a few discrepancies between what you see and what the client will see when logging in directly. These differences are for the purpose of client privacy, and we will highlight them as we move through today's tour. The next tab we will visit is the Organizer. This is your client's own fact finder. Here, the client can add information on real estate, income, expenses, and much more. This environment can be managed and edited by the client, or it can be set to read only. That is completely up to your discretion as the advisor. Now, let's navigate into the Accounts tab. Here on the Accounts tab, your client will see any of the accounts you may have already added from an advisor connection. On the top right, the client will select Add to begin aggregating their held away accounts. Your client will simply select the Add button and begin to search for their institution. The most accurate way to do this is to copy the exact URL your client uses to access their accounts into the search bar here. Once the correct institution has been found, the client will enter the exact credentials they use to enter their institution. We are merely mirroring the exact security held at the institution itself. We always recommend that you assist your clients in getting their accounts linked for the first time. Schedule a connections call or connections meeting with your client. Request that the client comes to this meeting with all their usernames, passwords, and security questions to all of their financial institutions in hand. This is the fastest way to get your clients to adopt the site. If your client truly has this one-stop shopping environment to view all of their accounts, well, they have skin in the game and are more likely to continue to monitor and manage the site. Remember, the more the client uses their site, the easier your job becomes. One final best practice here is to always have the clients log in as themselves when entering their own accounts. This will set the clients up to manage their own connections versus you maintaining the accounts not under your management. Now let's move to the next tab, The Workshop tab. This is your client's own little sandbox to play around in. Unlike the client's organizer, any changes made here will not flow over into your fact finder. This area allows the client to get some very preliminary information on various topics. We will select the workshop, Are You Saving Enough for Retirement? On the first page, you'll see a short video on what it means to save for retirement. The client will then click Begin and enter some very basic information. Based on these fields, the workshop will use a straight line calculator to reveal the amount that the client will need during retirement, the years funded, and potentially their shortfall. Remember, any of the tabs on the client's website can be removed from the management side. To learn how to do this, see the client website setup video. Now we will enter the Spending tab. This area may have some discrepancies between what you see and what your client sees. Reason being that this tab will contain detailed information about the client's transactions. So, as a default, we do not allow advisors to see this personal information. However, if your client would like to grant you access to view this information, they can do so by clicking Settings and then Privacy. Here, they can grant you access to see either limited or full spending detail. Back on the Spending tab, we will find 3 sub-tabs. The first is an overview of spending with adjustable filters. The second is the Budgets tab. This area allows the client to set spending limits on specific transaction categories. The last tab, Transactions, is where the client can go to categorize these transactions and even set rules for future common spending. The Spending tab is very intuitive for your client, but remember, if they do need your assistance in this realm, they will need to grant you access in Settings. Moving right along, we will now discuss the Investments tab. Just like the Spending tab, the Investments tab is very intuitive. There are 4 sub-tabs across the top. The Summary tab does just that. It summarizes the investments entered into the system and allows the client to adjust filters to view their investments in the exact way they wish. The Allocation tab allows the client to view their investment allocation across all accounts or any individual account. The Analysis provides the user with a view into the history of their accounts since they were entered into the site. Lastly, the Transactions tab lists any investment-specific transactions. This includes buys or sells and dividend reinvestments or payouts. The client has the same filtering capabilities here as well. The Vault is another great value add to your client. This is your client's own online data storage space. You have unlimited storage space to allocate to your clients. When viewing this tab from the advisor's vantage point, you will only see the Shared Documents folder. This folder allows you and the client to share files and documents in a safe and secure manner. However, this is not the only folder that the client will see when logging in directly. The client will also see a My Documents folder, which is completely private to themselves. This is where we recommend that you encourage your clients to upload copies of anything relevant to their financial well-being. This includes, but is not limited to, copies of their passport, social security card, birth certificate, and statements. This folder can also be utilized as a photo share between family members or for safekeeping of home movies. Like the Accounts tab, the more the client inputs here, the more often they tend to frequent the site. Lastly, the Reports tab, if you so choose to make it available, is where your clients can go to access the specific reports in the system that you grant them access to. When customizing this tab, you can create favorites and toggle on or off any specific reports you wish. It is not recommended to share any reports with your client that you yourself are not familiar with. This best practice is to avoid receiving questions you're not ready to field. Now that we have discussed all of the tabs, there is only one last place we need to visit. On the top right of your screen, you will see Settings. First, in Settings, we will see the Client Alerts. The client can go in here and set anything they wish the site to notify them about. The best practice here is to either limit the amount of alerts your client can set or explain to your client that they should only set the alerts they truly wish to be notified about. This is because clients tend to turn on all alerts which leads to them quickly ignoring all notifications. This is the same best practice for alerts on the advisor side as well. The next tab is Security, which allows your client to reset their password and security questions. The final subtab, which we discussed previously, is where your client can go to give their advisor access to see the information living in the Spending tab. Thank you for watching this training overview on the client's website. Feel free to reach out to our client engagement team by phone or email with any additional questions. Thank you, and have a great day.